Let's get into the show. You guys already mentioned it, right? The big announcement happened with Serato. Saw the videos. First of all, so if you guys aren't familiar, Serato came out with stems and they were teasing it with all these videos of these like famous DJs kind of talking about it, right? They had like Scratch Bastard, they had DJ Scratch, I think, they had Caper, they had Pearly, and they were they were kind of like reacting to something, and that was their marketing, right? So they were reacting, oh my God, this is the craziest thing ever. The possibilities are endless. And then, hard stop. I wonder what it is, right? Creating the anticipation and all that. And I can't help but think that they kind of did it on purpose. I'm stupid for even thinking this. Probably not, but I'm pissed off they did it this way. So essentially, they started marketing this on like Wednesday or Thursday of last week, and then they announced it yesterday. So like, I didn't have a chance to drop a leak. Because my show's today on Tuesday, right? I didn't have a chance to drop a leak. I didn't have a chance to like speculate on what it could have been. I didn't have a chance to do anything. They literally did all this in 4 days in between Tuesdays. Because, I could have had a lot of fun with this. So I'm kind of pissed off it dropped yesterday. All right. We could have had a lot of fun with this, but it dropped and it's here and let's talk about it. I am excited about it. It's crazy stuff, and, admittedly, like right away, like, a lot of people say and are going to say, and I agree, that they're late to the party. The algorithm DJ had this, virtual DJ had this, right? You're going to have like the comments right away. Serato users, welcome to 2019, signed virtual DJ, right? And it's a valid statement. But they did do it a little differently, so we're going to go through that. And, we're going to answer the question today that everybody wants to know, is Serato stems better than the other, virtual DJ and DJ algorithm stems? Like, is it, algorithm DJ, whatever? Like, are the Serato stems, does Serato stems do a better job than they do? Are the features better, or is it just the same shit and we just finally added it late, right? So let's go through it, okay? That's how they're marketing EQs are dead and all that. So generally, so I'm taking some footage from MOJAXX video. He had a great video on it. I haven't personally tried it yet, but from an outsider looking in, it's kind of cool how they have it set up. So first of all, you can separate stems by 4 different ways, right? You got the vocal, you got the melody, which is essentially like the nuts and bolts of like the musicality of the song, right? And then you have the bass line, and then you have the drums. So you can isolate any one of those or any combination of those, which is pretty cool. Now, the creative way that Serato did use to kind of like incorporate this whole thing was, because like I'm thinking, all right, well, this is an opportunity for them to sell more controllers. So I'm waiting for a new controller to drop any second now, right? With all this technology, I'm assuming. But you can integrate it right away with any controller by replacing a loop roll or sampler, or I guess it depends on like what controller or what mixer you have, but like you literally activate it right in Serato when you have 3.0, and then you can literally replace the loop roll of the sampler, so you can do it right there. So instead of, and I like how it has, they have it set up in the pad, so you can see the pad. So the top 4 pads isolates or turns on each one of those 4 things, and then on the bottom, you can use effects. So you can echo out like the instrumental or the acapella, or you can break out the instrumental or acapella, which makes it really cool. I think that's like it makes it a clean way to take things out. So if you want to have the crowd sing or do some crowd interaction, or to go into a routine, or the possibilities really are endless with stems overall. So it's definitely a cool thing. I think it's a big future of DJing. There's definitely some downfalls. Particularly as far as like analyzing stems. MOJAXX covered this really well. Basically, when you analyze it, a little thing comes up and it says, analyzing stems on song load will speed up stem playback time, but will increase computer load and may have a performance impact. And he did some testing, and it definitely does have a huge performance impact. If you don't have a newer Mac or a newer computer in general, it's, you're going to have some lag if you're like kind of, if you have the stem things turned on and then you just load the song, and then now the computer while you're DJing has to like analyze for the stems, it's going to lag your computer down a little bit. So anybody who's still rocking that 2012 thick ass MacBook, this is not the update for you for sure. And I'm assuming this is something that they're going to refine and get better, but it's definitely something that worries me. As a wedding DJ, you could bet your ass I'm not analyzing those stems on the fly, even though like I have a 2020 MacBook. Like I think my MacBook's like newer and pretty quick, but I still don't trust it. I'm not trusting that. Hell no. No, I don't care what they say. I never trust that because I'm not trying to have my music cut off at a wedding, right? None of us are. So I wouldn't trust that. But luckily there's another option where you can do this little stems crate. So when you turn stems on, you can, add all the songs you want to have, basically stems works by, there's an AI that analyzes the song and then it separates the song into those 4 parts for you, right? That analyzation, you could do it on the fly and it'll bog down your system over here, like right here, or you could do it ahead of time by putting all your songs into this little stems crate. It does it ahead of time and then you're good to go. So you don't have to worry about, bogging down your computer literally while you're live DJing. The problem with this is that when you put a song into the stems folder and it analyzes it, let's say your song is 10, just for symmetry or just for, for ease of math, right? Let's say your song is 10 megabytes big, right? 10 megabyte song. The average stems for that 10 megabyte song is going to be around 20 megabytes, about double. So for each one song, you're going to have an additional 2 times that on top of it, like 200% more. So if you have if you wanted to like have stems for your entire hard drive and you have a 500 gig hard drive, well then now you're going to need 1.5 terabytes because it's going to be an extra 1 terabyte. Does that make sense? Like 200% more. So that caused that's a lot of space, right? So most of us don't have that type of space, and you don't want to like run your hard drive full anyway, even if you had the space, you don't want to run your hard drive at 80-90%. If you guys do that, I highly recommend not. Like I try and keep my hard drive right around 50%. I don't know if it's scientifically proven or true, but I just found with experience, when my hard drive is like 50%, 60% or less full, it runs faster. When I get to the 70, 80, 90, it starts bogging down, no matter what kind of hard drive it is. SSD, the fancy ones, all that. Doesn't matter what it is. When that thing's full, it's just like when you eat too much at a buffet, right? You go to a buffet and you grub out and you fill yourself. How fast you gonna run? You're not gonna run that fast, right? You gotta poop. Well, same thing with these hard drives. I feel like I don't know. So basically, with that, you got to kind of pick and choose which songs you want to have stems. It's basically like, I think this is a really cool feature, but you got to do a lot of planning ahead. This isn't something you can just like replace your EQs, right? With their whole marketing, EQs are dead, yada, yada, yada. It's cute, but this isn't replacing your EQs anytime soon because who has the hard drive space? Who wants to bog down their computer live? It's just, this is something that's cool that you can make your own acapellas or instrumentals ahead of time, or you're going to have to what I'm going to do with this is I'm essentially going to go through all my sets, go through like a lot of the common songs I play, a lot of the, common things I do at weddings and stuff. And I'm going to see like where I can insert this technology, where could stems make my existing mixes even cleaner, right? This is the first thing I'm going to do. As I go through and do that, then I'll, drag everything to that stems folder, right? I'll drag those songs to stems folder, have it analyzed ahead of time so I don't have to do it the day of. And, and then I'm going to incorporate stems that way to make all my existing mixes cleaner. Then I feel like as I go through that process, then I'll be able to kind of come up with newer ideas too. Like ideas that I never tried before. I feel like there's a lot of things my brain wasn't thinking when I think of mixes, I don't think of it as I have the technology to have these stems broken up. You know what I mean? I don't think of it that way. I think of it with EQs and what I'm able to do now. So, I think we kind of have to change the way we think and change the way we kind of think about how we come up with mixes and stuff like that to kind of incorporate stems, because there's a lot of really, really cool ideas we can do. But again, this is all planning. You're going to have to just plan all this out. This is all stuff you're just going to have to plan out. There's nothing on the fly. You can't just upgrade to Serato 3.0, show up to your gig, and then start ripping stems. It's just not going to work like that, in my opinion. So, for the DJs that want to put in the work and really, think of new ideas and plan out some different sets and different cool things you can do to utilize these stems, it's going to work out great. And I think it's going to take our creativity and our abilities in general to a whole nother level. And I think it's a really, really cool thing overall. But for the DJs that don't want to do it ahead of time or, kind of plan stuff out, this update does nothing for you whatsoever. Basically my 2 cents with it, But Virtual did it first. I think Algorithm DJ did it first, and then Virtual. Or was Virtual first? Correct me in the comments. I don't know. But regardless, 2 other programs have it, okay? And so we're going back to the whole beat a lot, the beat the dead horse argument of like Serato versus Virtual, Serato versus this, right? And it's like, there's definitely like a huge comparison to like Apple and like Android, because like Android has like every feature ever, and they come out with all the features first, and then Apple comes out with it 2 years later. But the argument is Apple comes out with it, but they do it better. They perfect the feature before they come out with it, whereas like Android's kind of in a rush to have the newest feature right away, but it's not always perfect. Android has like 120 megapixel camera or some shit, but why do all their pictures suck? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but maybe it's just my perception. So it kind of goes to that argument. It's just all about how you use it, how you mix and how you use it. And if you put in the time and work, no matter what program you use, you put in the time and the work and into like really thinking about how you can fully like utilize this technology, you're going to be pretty far ahead of every other DJ. And there's a lot of cool things that can come from this. And I'm definitely going to mess with it. I'm definitely going to roll me up a big fat doobie and see what I can come up with for sure. Okay. One thing that did come from this though, I saw an article that Mike Farino wrote, and he used this whole Virtual versus Serato to bring up this common DJ point that all DJs make, that a lot of DJs make, I should say, a lot of the, older wedding guys and stuff make. And I quote, "The client doesn't care about the tricks, the mixing, the ease of functionality, or special effects. DJs care, not the client. Don't get me wrong, being a skilled DJ with the ability to beat mix, scratch, sample, and be a creative artist takes talent and can bring your performance to the next level. But in the end, your client just wants the music to play well, and not stop until the end of your contract." And I can't stand it when DJs say that. I can't stand that at all. You're 100,000% wrong. Love you, Mike. Like your whole DJ ideas sharing thing, and all you're doing for the community, but like, it's just dead wrong. If you're young, I hate when people say this, because younger DJs will hear that, and it makes me scared that they're going to hear that and be like, all right, well, all this like hard work I'm doing on practicing, like I really don't need to like know all these tricks. All I got to do is just play music. All I got to do is, as long as the music doesn't cut out, I'm good. As long as the music keeps flowing and I play the right music, none of the other stuff matters, right? It couldn't be further from the truth, okay? Because it's just so obvious. Look at all the DJs in the world, okay? If you do weddings, look at all the wedding DJs in the world, okay? Look at the wedding DJs who charge this much. Look at the wedding DJs that charge this much. Look at the wedding DJs who do these weddings. Look at the wedding DJs who do these weddings. Compare everything, okay? Talent matters. Being able to be a very good mixer, creative mixer, like not only takes your sets to another level, but it also takes your clientele to another level. It also takes your pricing to another level. It also takes your entire career to another level. Your ability to be able to be a very, very good mixer, well above average, okay? If you crush your sets in a very creative way, mixing, scratching, quick mixing, all that, you're literally, this could enable you to be a full-time DJ, like if you're not full-time, because you can charge enough. It always seems like it's got to be like an ego thing. Like I think like a lot of DJs are just like, well, I can't do that, and I don't want to put in the work to learn to do that. So like I'm just gonna say that's my excuse. I don't want to put in the work to do that or learn how to do that. So like I'm just gonna say like you don't need to. That's why I don't do it. You don't need to. The clients don't care. So why would I do that? I crush my weddings. You're just dead wrong. You're just dead wrong in every shape. Always look to bring the bar higher. Okay. Always look to try some shit nobody else tried to do. Okay. You just play music and keep the music going and select good songs. You're the same as every other guy, and you're probably charging the same as every other guy, and you're probably making the same as every other guy, and you're probably doing the same kind of weddings as every other guy. And that's not enough for me personally. Okay. So if you're a younger DJ watching this, okay, I'm not talking to the older guys who agree with this guy, this whole statement. I'm not talking to you, because you're not going to be around in 10 years. Okay. You're going to be retired in 10 years, but we're still going to be around. So all the younger guys, okay, the bar is going to be high. Learn how to scratch. Learn how to quick mix. Get disgusting. Get as good as you possibly can get. And then when you get that good, get better. Okay? Always work on your craft. Always think of new ways, creative ways to mix into songs. Don't use stupid edits to mix in don't play an edit and let the edit mix for you. Do it yourself. Come up with your own. Utilize this cool technology like stems to come up with all your own shit. See where it takes you. Then catch it on film, put it on TikTok, and see where it takes you, okay? Don't let these guys get you down. Keep practicing. Talent matters. Good mixing matters. Scratching matters. All that shit matters, okay? It all matters. All you got to do is look around. Look who's making the statements. It just drives me nuts when people talk about that. But back to Serato. Very, very cool thing. Now, one thing I couldn't talk about as far as the Serato, right? It's like the big thing, right? You know, what's better? Is Serato better? Is virtual DJ better? Is algorithm DJ better? I didn't personally try it. So like, I don't want to I didn't download the beta yet. So I didn't have time. It just came out yesterday, and whatever. So, you know, I don't want to just sit here and say, oh, I watched the video and it sounded better. Let's talk to someone who tried it out for a few weeks, who was able to really, really, you know, hear the differences, everything with his own ears and whatnot. And let's see what he has to say. Let's give my man MOJAXX a call. Okay. So we're going to call him right now. I hope this works. Hold on. We're going to dial him. All right. So I'm going to bring up his number. Bear with me, people. And we're going to dial him right now.
Hello.
MOJAXX, how you doing? You're live on the air.
Hello. Do I sound okay?
You do sound okay, actually. Do good. Okay,
Okay,
do I sound okay?
Good. Excellent. Yeah, it's fine. I've just been watching the show. Yes, of course.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on last minute. I literally just hit you up 2 seconds ago about this.
Yeah. All good, man. All good. So you haven't tried it yet?
I haven't, and I'm going to this week and everything, but like I wanted to address it right away on the show, and I figured I'd bring you on because I wanted to talk to you about, like, so you obviously, you know, you've done full reviews on every program, you know more than most about all this. Like, honest opinion, like, do you think, first of all, the quality of the stems, like, who is virtual DJ better? Is algorithm better? Is you know, Serato better? Like, generally speaking, like, what do you think is better?
Right, and I hate to say this because it's going to be, well, okay, I made 2 videos about this. I made 2 videos. The first of which is my normal kind of first look, check this out, this is how it works kind of video. The second video was just a comparison. So it was strictly just, I did audio of 3 different tracks and I played the stems of those tracks through Serato, through Virtual DJ, and through Algorithm's DJ Pro AI. And to be honest, you have to judge for yourself. I think the Serato ones sound better.
Wow.
I think they do. They do. To be honest, like, my whole thing was with stems, I didn't like how it sounded ever. Now, that's not to say the new Serato one is perfect.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the time, if you just solo out an a cappella, it kind of sounds bad, right?
Sounds DIY,
it
yeah.
does, because I genuinely think that however good AI gets, I don't think it's possible to separate an a cappella from every track cleanly when there's other instruments at the same kind of frequencies, the same kind of level. I just don't think it's ever going to be possible. So I'm not saying that Serato have like nailed it 100%, every single separation is perfect. No, they have not. But I do think that they've done some sauce to make it better. And I think the main thing is, like, when you solo the drums, they sound fat. They bang on nearly every... I did a Twitch stream earlier today. Was on for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and every single drums that I soloed, they banged, and they sounded fat and round, which is what I was never finding with Algorithm. To be honest, I've used Algorithm more in the past than I have Virtual DJ. But I have used both, and I just found that the drums just always sounded weedy and thin with those other programs, always. And then the bass as well, the bass is round it. And I think it's to do with some kind of like filtering. I spoke to someone who's a bit of a tech nerd, and he suggested it might be something, you know, there's like DBX bass enhancers. You know, those things, right?
Yep.
It might be something like that, where they're kind of doing some kind of clever comb filtering or whatever to make those drums sound fatter.
Interesting.
And so I think that's That's what they're doing, and it just seems, but it does seem to work. And what really did level it up, you know, people are saying on the comments, they're saying to me, "Hey, MOJAXX, like it was never supposed to be an EQ replacement." Well, it was, because in virtual DJ you can literally turn your EQs into stems. So it's been pushed as this like EQ replacement, and I don't like it as an EQ replacement.
I agree.
That is something that does not work for me at all, because actually there's like inconsistency there, which is every time you press those buttons, you don't know what you're going to get. Unlike with an EQ or a filter, where you know exactly what's going to happen, because every single, you know, the controls are the same. Whereas with these, it's relying on the software. I think you need to turn me up, the comments are saying there, Nick. I know you never look at the comments, but they're saying turn me up a little bit. But yeah, so like it just kind of, I don't know, it does sound better overall, but it's not magic. It doesn't make a clean a cappella of every single track you're going to play. It doesn't do that nicely enough for me. But it's those effects down below, the bottom row of pads, where you do the vocal and you echo out the vocal to make an instant instrumental version. And that pretty much always sounds good. Like I've not noticed that sound bad once, really. Not that I couldn't play it. I mean, in my video, it was so stupid. I kind of cut out the bit where I spoke about what that's useful for, because like the only thing that got into the video was like, hey, you can fade out the vocal when people are singing along on the dance floor, which is like, that's the most basic use of that ever. Like, it's rubbish. Like, that's not a great use at all. What really stood out for me is like the idea that now you can get to the end of a chorus, echo out the vocal at the end of the chorus, and you're into the verse, and there's your short edit. So you can make a short, I know you like the quick mixing, Nick, the same as I do, mate. Like, you can make a short edit of any track on the fly, because as soon as you get to that second or third verse, vocal's gone, you're mixing in on the next track.
That's so cool.
So for me, that's really exciting. Instant like dogs as well. You know, sometimes I just like it. It's a really nice way to just take the vocal out, but you do it with that echo, so it's smooth, it's clean.
Yeah.
Sounds really good. And then I discovered today on Twitch, what I hadn't thought about was, you know, I talk a lot on my Twitch. You know, I'm talking over the music quite a lot, talking to the chat and so on. You know, it's quite important to me as a Twitch streamer. And I realized that I don't have to clash with the vocal anymore. I can just instant echo the vocal away and then talk.
Oh, I never thought of that. That's ridiculous
man.
for Twitch. That's ridiculous for Twitch. I never thought of that.
Yeah, I hadn't crossed my mind at all. So, and yeah, look, don't get me wrong, okay? Let's put it like this. It is a public beta. It is not finished. And like today I was having like USB dropouts. I haven't had USB dropouts in Serato for like 10 years.
Nice.
Yeah, you know, and it does, let's not get it twisted, it hammers your computer super hard.
Yeah.
Like, people talking about using Serato video with it. I'm like, if you want to do that, you're going to need that computer from War Games, from that movie. Like, that's what you're going to need to make Serato video and stems work together, because that is just going to take so much power and CPU. Like, I have that really nice XMG laptop, the Windows machine, that gets hammered with it. My MacBook Pro 2019 gets hammered with it. The only thing I've not used it with so far is an M1 Mac, which most other people like Cleveland did.
What did he say?
To test it with,
did he say it was better with the M1?
It's better with an M1, like, no doubt. Those M1s are super powerful, right? They really are. But I think if you're rocking any kind of Intel Mac or an Intel Windows machine, you might struggle. You might struggle. Like, I've never heard my fans so loud on those computers my whole life. Like, the whole time I've had them, like, it's loud as hell. So yeah, like, you can do the thing where you drag them to the stems crate and it will analyze them offline, which is great. That's a good idea, right? But those files that it creates, the stems files, are massive. They're like more than double the size of the original music file.
Two
so
times,
if you were to do your whole library, you'd basically triple the size of your library, which most of us don't have the hard drive space to do in this day and age. So it's just, I think it's great. I think it's probably, I do think it's the best sounding stems that we've seen in DJ software. There is, I think, still possibly, you know, like the production versions of this stuff. I still think some of those probably do sound a bit better. But that's because they're doing it in a slow and considered way. They're not trying to do it on the fly, you know. But I think for a real time, in a bit of DJ software, it's the best one yet. But I'm still not convinced that everyone's going to use it all the time and it's going to need it, because not every DJ does want to do, make custom short edits or do a cappella mixing and stuff. I mean, it's great. It's really good, and I have a lot of fun with it. And I did today on Twitch. I was just kind of trying out different genres. I was trying rock and like house stuff and drum and bass and all kinds of different music. And it does work pretty consistently with most music. And I'm definitely going to use those effects. The bottom 4 pads, that's the killer. That's the killer app for it. For me, it's not about cutting different stems in and out. It's about using those effects.
Question though, when you when you set it to where it bogs down your computer, where you kind of like it just it loads it like on the fly, does it save it or no? Like, so if I load like Dancing Queen on the track, and then it processes the stems, and then I use it, and then I play Dancing Queen later that day, we'll have to reload it so it doesn't save it. So that's how you're saving on the hard drive save? Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it just does it temporarily. If you don't drag them to that stems crate, it does it. And of course, obviously I use a lot of beat source streaming music. Yeah. And that can't be analyzed ahead of time. You have to do that on the fly.
So you're streaming music plus analyzing it on the fly. Yeah.
Yeah. But it is cool. It works with streaming music.
That's crazy. Yeah. No, it's crazy.
Cool. I'm glad it does. It would be great though if you've got tracks in your like beat source offline locker to be able to put them in the stems crate though. That would be nice. But at least it works with streaming music, because otherwise it would be a non-starter for me. But yeah, honestly, like it's not a game. The Serato video with like Jazzy Jeff and everybody going, "This is a game changer. Everything's going to change from now." I don't think it is, because creative DJs were already finding ways to be creative in the mix. This adds another tool to your toolbox. That's all it is. It's another tool you can use to do interesting creative mixes, and I'm all for having new tools for that. I'm all about that, like no doubt about it. I'm looking at the comments there. Double down asking, why would you still choose Serato with the big HD load over the on-the-fly low CPU of VDJ? That's the thing for me. I would not use stems in Virtual DJ because I don't think the quality is good enough that I would want to use them. There's lots of artifacts in the high end and stuff. I do think with Serato, as I say, it isn't perfect, but for me, it's usable. And yes, there is definite the performance of Virtual DJ stems in terms of CPU usage, etc., is ridiculously good.
Okay,
like that. I tried all 3. I was checking, the activity monitor and watching the CPU and the RAM usage and everything else. Virtual DJ, I believe, does it with GPU or something, not just the CPU. And I didn't realize that before. But like that for me. It's really good that Virtual DJ does it in such a lightweight fashion. It really is. But I do think you just have to watch my comparison video. I presented it without commentary, without voiceover. I just play the same track and mess around with stems in all 3 bits of software. And I don't think anyone could watch that video and come away not thinking Serato's the best in terms of sound, because it just is to me. I think you might disagree. Watch it for yourself, but I fully think it's the best for sound, 100%.
I'm going to put the comparison video in the chat too, so you guys can kind of check it out. I think it's super, super interesting. One last question before I let you go, MOJAXX. I wanted to ask because I wasn't sure, because I haven't tried it on the other 2 programs. How would you say the integration is? Like, who has the best integration? Like, how like, so Serato had the clever way of like, all right, you're going to replace like the slicer, which like who the hell uses the slicer, right? So you replace that, and then it's right on the pads, it's super easy to use. Like how is it integrated? Like with Virtual DJ and Algorithm, like is it just as easy? Is it a little better, like integration wise?
Well, I mean, the thing is, this whole pad thing, it's very cool. Like, it's great, but actually on some hardware, you can't replace the slicer. You have to replace, like on the Range 70, you have to replace it's either loop roll or it's sampler, both of which I use.
Okay.
So I only have the option to choose one of those 2 pad modes, which I will then miss, right? So that is a problem for me. On the S9, the S11, you can use slicer. That's all good. So I'm fine on there. But then there is on the other hand, you're using your pads for that. So you can't do hot cue and a stem at the same time, which for me is a bit of a disappointment, whereas as much as I don't like treating stems as EQ, on like Virtual DJ, you can have your EQs replaced with stems, and then you've still got your pads to use for hot cues or loops or whatever you want, and you've got the stems because you've got them on the EQs. we are running out of controls here on our devices, right?
More buttons.
That's the problem here.
Yeah.
We need more buttons. You know, the thing that I think will work best with it will be the DDJ XP2 from Pioneer DJ.
But you can't put it on there, right?
Add-on controller with the 16 pads on each side, because it's 2 pad modes, and that's the dream, because then you can have 1 pad mode and then always have stems at the bottom. That would be great.
Yeah.
But that currently doesn't work.
I was going to say, you can't even put it on. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it will. Like, it's just an oversight at the moment, I think. That will work with it, and then it will be sick. And I'll have to start taking that thing out. I haven't taken that thing out for a long time, but I will take it out, because that, for me, I just need more controls. I mean, they are mappable in Serato. You can map them to other pads. So let's say you only ever use the first 4 hotkeys. Well, you could put your stems controls below that on the bottom 4 pads. On your hotkeys. You can remap it and do custom mapping for yourself. Yeah, DJ Maybach there, got to bring that back, the dicers. I mean, that's the thing. If you've got a secondary controller of some kind, then you're all good. Dicers or an SP1 or an XP2, then that would be kind of, you just need extra pads now at this point, because at some point I'm going to want to do a stem and a hotkey at the same time. And as of right now, I can't do it.
Well, this opens up the manufacturers to just come out with a new controller or a new mixer that's going to have this, I'm assuming, right? Like, there's got to be stuff coming now. I'm assuming next 6 months they're going to be bop, 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 dropping.
I'm surprised, to be honest. I said this on my Twitch stream today. I feel like it's a bit of a surprise that no company, they didn't have some new hardware
like ready to go
with this at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm surprised. I would have thought they would. It might have given it even more of a push. You know, if there's some crazy piece of hardware to use with it. But as it's, I mean, I'm not saying I don't like the fact that it works with all the hardware we have right now. That's great. But, you know, I'm surprised there wasn't a new piece of hardware to go with this. That did shock me a little bit.
It's got to be coming. Rain's due. I'm sure Pioneer will do something. Yeah. Got to be coming. Well, crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff.
Cool.
Well, I appreciate
that's it, really. I mean, it's, as I say, I'm sold on it. Up to a point. I'm still not completely sold on the concept of stems in general, but this version I do think is probably the best on balance, simply because it sounds the best. And that's not that's not me being like a Serato loyalist or some. Yeah. You know, I compared them directly with the same tracks, and I think it sounds better. Doesn't sound perfect, but it sounds better. That's my overall conclusion on the whole thing.
I think it's exciting news. You know, it sets the bar higher, so I'm sure Virtual DJ is going to improve theirs. I'm sure, Algorithm DJ will improve theirs.
Yeah, totally. Sure I can't wait to see what they're going to come back with, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. What are they going to come with next?
And and I can't wait to see just like you said, with you taking the vocals out just to voiceover stuff on Twitch. Like, I didn't even think of that. Like, I can't wait to see what all these DJs are gonna come up with, with this new, you know what I mean, with it being integrated as easy as it is. Like, it's definitely exciting stuff. It's definitely gonna there's gonna be a lot of cool things that come out of it. So I'm pumped. I'm pumped. Doubt. Good to hear, and good to hear Serato's the best. Woo!
It's not the best of everything. Sure. We'll get into that another day.
Yeah, it sounds good, man.
We'll talk about what other things do better.
I know. I'll just bust some balls. How many people left the video now? Fuck this guy. Well, appreciate you, MOJAXX. By the way, you look great, bro. That fucking keto shit's working. Holy balls.
Thank you, man.
Great.
65 pounds down. 65 pounds down since May.
Yeah, you were doing keto when we were eating. We had a couple meals together in Arizona, and man, holy shit. Big difference.
Yeah, I feel better for it, man.
Yeah, good for you, bro. Good for you. Well, I'll definitely talk to you soon, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Nice one. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, brother. Bye.
Big up chat. All right, bye-bye.
Well, you guys heard it. I mean, I trust MOJAXX. I really do. Like, he's not, but he's very honest in his opinions, and he's had many controversial opinions, that are against the norm, right? He's praised Virtual DJ a million times. He's praised every other program. The Windows laptop, every other controversial topic we have, he's given honest opinions on everything. So I'm going to believe him. I'm going to try it this week, and I'll tell you guys, my personal opinion, but from what I heard, I did watch all his videos. I watched Cleveland's videos, and overall, it does sound like Serato's, took the cake with this, and it's only going to push the other, programs to do better. So overall, great stuff. We're moving in the right direction. And speaking of, future technology, this is like a pretty big future technology, right? It came out a couple years ago, but this is something that's really going to dominate the way we DJ in the future. I think as it gets better and better and better, it's going to be a really, really cool aspect of, of what we do. you.